Hi, everyone. Welcome to Launch Network. It's Carmine Didisco on Get Retail Ready with Mr. Jim DeBetta. We've got a good show today. We've had some awesome guests on the show. We're going to be covering all kinds of subjects, all kinds of questions that come in from our listeners, from inventors, from innovators. I'm going to bring the man of the hour on, Mr. Jim DeBetta. Jim, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, we certainly do get a lot of emails, questions, messages, social media, requests, comments, everything. It's overwhelming sometimes. So I thought it would be a good thing today to just talk about, at least go over like the most common ones. And there's dozens. We could do 2 months worth of shows on the questions, right?
Oh.
But I figured I sorted through some of the ones that I keep getting over and over again. And even though we've talked about all these on so many other shows, I'm like, let's just go over the big ones again, because if a lot of people keep asking them despite the information that's available, there must be some confusion or they're just not getting the answers to these questions.
Yeah. You think it's like, and it happened to me too, just that nervousness and that jumping in with both feet and saying, okay, that's the answer. Now I have nothing else to do but either move forward or I just keep asking the same question.
Yeah, I do. I think people, I think they get an answer that might not be the answer they want to hear. So they look somewhere else for another answer. Right?
That's what I do when I go to the doctor.
Right. Yeah. You need to eat better. Well, is there something else I can do? Do I have to exercise? Like that kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
People know, they know what they need to do. They just don't want to do it, or they don't want to accept. Look, one of the questions we're going to talk about today is money. At the end of the day, you're going to spend money to invent. Even if you license where you really just don't need much generally, you still have to pay for something. And people want to avoid that or find ways to do it for nothing. So that's one of the questions. So all right, let's jump in. Actually, let's make that the first question. So
Yeah.
People ask me repeatedly, where do I get the money to invent? How do I get funded? How do I hear angel investors. People say, how do I find an angel investor? They don't even know what they are. They don't know anything about the costs of inventing, but they know they need money. So I quickly turned to crowdfunding. They're like, what's crowdfunding? What is that? Oh, I've heard of that. Is that Kickstarter? Is it? And so I have to take them through it. And basically I tell them, I said, look, years ago, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, those things didn't exist a decade plus ago. They were new. They were just coming about. And to me, it's like a godsend for inventors because it's money or a new resource for money that didn't exist. So now people can go online, like, and I tell people, go to Kickstarter.com or Indiegogo. I'm not even sure. How do they spell? Is it like INDIEGOGO, right?
I think it's INDIGO.
Something like that. Yeah, it's a little funky, but
yeah.
But Kickstarter is the big one. That one gets the most play, the most press. It's the biggest brand. So people say, well, how does it work? What do you do? What do I have to pay for it? And I tell people, look, you go on there. I say, first of all, go on there and look at how other people are running their campaigns. And it's not difficult. Usually you do a little video. You're talking about the product or your story or what you're trying to raise money for. And then you put pictures of your product or drawings of your concept. And a lot of people, of course, there's a whole legal thing like, well, if you expose your product, then, there's patent issues and I'm like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a patent attorney, I'm not getting into that. I'm just kind of talking about, I tell them, I'm like, I'm just explaining to you how it works. What you do legally or whatever is something for you to talk to your attorney or patent attorney about. But basically you put up information about your product and you explain its benefits and features, no different than if you're trying to sell it to a buyer. You want to explain what it is, a video on it, a video about what you're doing, why you're raising the money, how much you're looking to raise. And then you launch your campaign. It takes Kickstarter a few days to approve it, make sure there's nothing weird going on. But then they say, well, a lot of people will run those and say, I only raised like $50, even though I had a $50,000 goal. I'm like, because you can't just set up a campaign and hope it's going to get funded. You have to go out and you have to market the hell out of that thing. I mean, you literally have to go out there every day and not just putting it on Facebook once a day and saying, hey, I need money, contribute. You've got to you've got to find the press, bloggers, influencers. You got to, the people you know in your life, friends, family, everyone has to spread the word. It has to be a job. It's a part-time job to get the word out. And hopefully through enough people will donate. And that's the thing. They're like, well, do I have to give up equity in my company? No, you're really getting money. And it's usually little bits. Could be $10 or $25 or $50 from hundreds of people or thousands of people. And collectively, they donate, right? And in return, you don't give them equity, you give them a reward. And those rewards are bigger based on how much you donate. So if you donate, and I'm making up things here, $25, you get a Carmine t-shirt. Or if you donate $100, you get 2 samples of the product and a Carmine t-shirt. And then I've seen people do things like, well, if you donate $1,000, you get like an hour call or lunch with the founder, and there's all these perks. Yeah. But really, I don't want to say it's free money, but really, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000,000%. What I love about Kickstarter is that it is a game changer. It's going to tell you, do people like the blue product? Do people like the pink product? Do the people like the product at all? So I think that everything you're saying is right. It's very important to drive traffic to it. Kickstarter is huge now. So there's a lot of products on there. So you can't just put your product up there and sit back and say, everybody loves my product. It's a real way to test the market too. That's something that's important, right?
It didn't exist. So this is just a new source of money for inventors. And because a lot of people that donate are inventors, and a lot of people, obviously most people on there are inventors or product entrepreneurs trying to do the same thing you're doing. You're sort of competing because, like a lot of websites, you don't just show up on the homepage. There's ways to do that. I always tell people, look, even though I know you're trying to raise money because you don't have it, sometimes it's a good idea to hire a reputable company to help you market the campaign. So I know a couple of people that do that. They charge a few $1,000s. It's not cheap, but if they can help you to raise 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever you're looking for, it's certainly well worth it. And Kickstarter takes a little percentage. They take a portion of what you earn through the campaign. So if you're trying to raise 50, you probably want to try to raise 55 or 60 so you can get your 50, right? But that's not the only way. Angel investors have been around forever, still a great way. And an angel investor isn't necessarily a business person who's a financial donor or somebody who's going to provide you with money in exchange for equity. Angel investors are friends, family, people in your inner circle. Really, it's an angel. I mean, it kind of is a derivative of somebody who's descended from above, who will provide you the money you need to help you get your business going. But angels are tough, or a tough sell, unless it is your family or friends. A true angel investor is somebody that does that for a living, that invests in businesses in exchange for an equity piece. They want to see that you've invested money in your business. They're not just going to say, hey, Carmine, look, I know you're looking for 50 grand, but I'm not just going to give you 50 grand if you haven't spent a cent yourself or have sweated or suffered a little bit on your own. They want to see that you've got skin in the game as well. So angel investing is a whole nother world, but you're going to give up a chunk of your company. It's like what people see on Shark Tank. I'll give you 100 grand in exchange for 30% of your business. That's sort of what it's like. And so that's a resource for money. Of course, people use credit cards. They take out money from their savings. They tap their 401ks. Some people have access to bank lines of credit if they have really good credit or good rapport with their bank. There are grants. People say, well, grants. I mean, there are tons of grants available in every state for inventors, depending on what their invention is. I mean, I had a client who I worked with a couple of years ago about a water conservation product. So of course, there's tons of grants for saving water and those types of things. So there's all sorts of ways to raise money, but those are the most common ways that I see.
Do you see, and you and I talk about this all the time, we don't recommend people mortgaging their house or figuring out ways that really put them at risk for a retail product or an invention. Obviously, an invention and innovation is just that. It's an idea that you have without testing the market. But what I see is it's a great way when you have friends and family to be able to invest with you, not only because it alleviates some of the pressure on you, but it also, again, I'm all about really testing the market. It's a proof positive that if you get some friends and family that are investing, that means they like the product too. Because if you continually get no's, that's the craziest product in the world, and from everyone, then you got to kind of rethink it. But if you get some people that want to jump in, it's kind of a good feeling, not only for the money side, but also some people that believe in the product.
Yes. And I think a lot of times what people don't realize is that when people invest in your business, they're really investing in you. They believe in you. And of course, it's much easier to get a good friend or family member who knows you and trusts you to invest because they believe in you and they believe that you can pull this off. A stranger, like a true angel, someone that's not of your family and friend circle, they don't know you. They don't know what you're capable of. They don't know if you're trustworthy, if you're just going to blow all the money the wrong way. So they're going to do a lot more due diligence or homework on you and your capabilities and your whole wherewithal. Can you actually handle this?
Yeah. Do you
Your
recommend, hey, Jim, not to cut you, do you recommend, even if you're going to do work with friends and family, they're going to invest, do you recommend like treating it like it's a business, contracts and make sure everything's on the up and up?
Yeah, you have to. And I think that the big risk you run with working with friends and family is if you mishandle it or you lose all that money, even if you tried really hard and you just don't make any money, you might upset, you may lose a friend over it, or you may alienate family members. So you have to know going in that it's risky from a personal relationship standpoint to do that, to take money from them. And so the way to at least minimize that a bit is to formalize it, no different than you would with a stranger. Have a contract, have an agreement, say, this is how the money's going to be used. This is, if you're going to pay them back, this is how I'm going to pay you back. And here's the risk that I may not succeed and you may lose your money. It's no different than any other investment. Like if you invest in stocks and bonds, there's always disclaimers saying, investments are risky. You may lose all a part of your investment, blah, 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 blah. So that is risky for sure. And as we're talking about this, I realize that this is going to be a 2-part podcast, maybe a 3-parter. Yeah. Because look, we could talk about money for a whole episode, and we have talked about money for entire podcast episodes, but that's the base. Those are the big things people ask. Like, where do I find money? How do I do it? What is crowdfunding? How do angel investors work? Hopefully we've at least covered the basics, but that question, money is the center of everything with inventing or any business. You need money to just exist in this business.
Yeah.
And like I said, even if you're licensing, you still have to sell sheets and presentation decks and sometimes prototypes, and you have to reach out to companies and mail them things. And there's little cost in doing that as well. But when you're going on your own, you have to really make prototypes and really manufacture and sell and market and and ship products and have a website. There's a lot of expense that goes into this business. So if you're going to use other people's money, you need to be clear about and understand just how much it's going to cost to the best that you can, and have a clear way to either pay that money back, or if in the case of like a Kickstarter, how to utilize those funds in the best possible way. So you can just feel good that you've not only succeeded, but that when the product comes to market, that if one of those rewards is you give that person a working sample or working samples, that they can at least get to enjoy that for their donation.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we can move on to another question just to let people know, a quick little hint. If you are going to, put those estimates down in some kind of business plan, don't let your investors know that you're going to be, or don't say that you're going to be using the money to pay yourself or for any kind of travel. That's a big red flag.
Those are no-nos. Like you said, that money's got to all go right to the cause itself. Yeah, people say, I want to take $100,000 salary. And
yeah.
You're not taking a salary. Not on my money, you're not. I mean, I want that money going right to product, right to marketing. Those are the things that are
Yeah.
going to have the big payoff in
Yeah,
sales. Of
exactly.
course.
So,
And Carmen, keep me on track. I'm not looking at the clock. So if I
oh, that's
get
okay. Yeah, we got a little bit.
you
But
yell at me.
the money thing is the biggest thing. What other kind
It's-
of questions you get hit with a lot?
It's huge. All right. Another one that's extremely common today is Amazon. Should I sell on Amazon, or how do I get on Amazon? And so, again, topic worthy of its own podcast. And I know we've had like people like Joel Wall on before talking about Amazon, how to do it, how it works. But basically, Amazon is a go-to today. Everybody seems to shop on it. I shop on it. I know you shop on it. At some point, somewhere, somehow, some way, everybody gets on it either to buy something or to price shop something. It's obviously a huge business. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. It's the largest e-commerce website, at least that I'm aware of. They're bigger than Walmart.com, bigger than Target.com. They're huge, and they sell everything. Every category of product exists on there. So the answer is yes, you should certainly consider being on Amazon, but there are risks to being on Amazon. I mean, there are certain times when people want to develop a product and they just want to launch on Amazon. But Amazon's a low price leader. And Amazon, in order for you to succeed on Amazon, especially if there's dozens or even hundreds of products like yours on Amazon, if you're the lowest price, if you want to ultimately sell to other retailers, you may harm your brand or your price point or your perception of what the product should be. If you're selling something on Amazon for $20, but then you want to sell it at Target or Costco or somewhere else for $30, it's not going to fly because people are going to go and buy it on Amazon, and you're going to upset the retailer. But Amazon obviously is a huge opportunity for people, but also Amazon isn't just putting your product up there and hoping it sells. In today's Amazon, you have to spend money on ads, basically, to get seen, to show up in their search engine ranking. Like when you type in whatever, widget, in order for you to show up, it's kind of like a Google search, right? If you Google something and it's not on the first few pages, you probably will never scroll beyond that. You're going to find what you're looking for on that first page or two or three. Think of Amazon the same way. If you type in, you could scroll for 15, 20, 30 minutes for all the different products in your category. How do you show up quicker, faster, so somebody sees it? And there's more to it than just paying. There's algorithms, there's ways that Amazon positions you, and Amazon experts know that. But really at the heart of it, you got to be prepared to spend some money on Amazon.
Yeah, I totally agree. 1,000,000%. Because one thing I want to let people know also about Amazon is, I mean, it's a monster. It's a job in itself. If you have one single product and you're not really used to doing those, and it's a low cost product, in some cases, Amazon might not be the answer. It's the biggest market, as we know, but Amazon's also a monster. You're just a number. You're a little small fry. I have an Amazon store, and I'm continually fighting with the Amazon reps. They're closing my listing down because somebody did a return or something got this mailed to the wrong person, and because you're such a small fry to them, you just get hit with these bots that go through the system. So it is a job, and that's what I think we're talking about here, Jim, is that this invention world, the innovation world. You don't just come up with an idea and make millions. Our main goal here is to let people know that everything takes work.
Yeah, there are a lot of what we hear about Amazon millionaires and people that have made it. But for every Amazon millionaire, there's thousands of failures. And it's just because people believe that they're just going to set up a product on Amazon and everyone's just going to find it and buy it. But no matter how unique your product is, there's probably dozens or hundreds of products that are sort of similar. But if they've been on Amazon, and obviously when you sell more on Amazon, that Amazon sort of bumps you up in visibility. So if you're selling 1,000 pieces a week versus the product that's selling 5 pieces a week, the one that's selling 1,000 pieces a week is going to show up in your feed, or it's going to show up when you search quicker, because Amazon makes money from, or portion of that business. So obviously it makes sense for them to push that to the front of the line. The things that aren't selling sort of just sit there. I would say that 9 out of 10 people that come to me, when I ask them, are you selling on Amazon? And they say yes, they're hardly selling anything on Amazon.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll get somebody that's doing very well, but then when I say, well, how'd you do it? Well, we're doing 100 grand a month on Amazon, but we're spending $20,000 on ads. They're investing in the business. And that's no different than, okay, look at it as a marketing budget. I tell people, when you have a new product, you have to go out on social media and you have to expose the product. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're going, you have to spend time and probably money with social media ads if you really want to get there. Now, do some products just organically catch on fire and they become huge? Yes. But if you're going to rely on that as the hope, you're probably going to be very disappointed. You're probably going to fail. You really need to invest in making your product and brand as visible as possible. And I know that's not possible for everybody. That's why money comes up all the time. People are like, well, I don't have a lot of money. I have an invention, but I don't have any money. I usually tell people like that, if you really have no money to invest, you try to license it. If you have patent pending or you actually have a patent on something, licensing is probably the way to go for you if you have no money. But if you're going to tell me you're going to develop a product, have it made, right, Carmen, you make that product for them, but then they don't have a dollar to spend on marketing or selling it or any other part of the business that is branding related, unless you just get lucky and whatever it is that you have, people just catch on and start sharing, you're probably not going to do very well, or you're going to just struggle along. So it's an investment. It's like any business that you're in. You need to invest in it. You need to give it constant attention. You always have to be selling and marketing. Whether you do that, like we had Andrea Pass on last week from, she's the big public relations person that we know of that is in our industry, that she's been doing this for 30 years. And she's got tons of product placed on, the Today Show and Good Morning America and all these places and everything in between. She's not free. She costs money, but she knows what to do. And she understands the value of getting your name out there in front of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people. And that's what helps to accelerate product sales. It's very rare that a product just gets put on Amazon and just takes off on its own.
Yes, very rare. There's no doubt. Hey, Jim, real quick, and I know we're on this, and I get a lot of my clients. We help them go onto Amazon, and we don't discourage them, but we do say, hey, listen, Amazon's awesome. It's just a job. You got to spend money, like you said. Do retailers does it hurt if I have a product on Amazon that's selling gangbusters? Is it better? Will a retailer accept my product, or does that hurt me when I go to retail? Again,
it's always a price thing. So if you're currently on Amazon and you're selling something's on Amazon for $20 and it's selling well, or even if it's not selling great, it's selling. If I send something to a buyer at a chain store, one of the first things they're going to do is Google the product. So they're either going to find a website or they're going to go to Amazon and see if it's there. They're going to do that. That's sure. Right off the bat. So if I've already pitched them and said, hey, I have a product, the MSRP is 30 and I want you to buy it for 15, but they go to Amazon and see it's selling for 20, they're not going to buy it just for that reason alone. How can they compete? Because when someone goes to Google whatever product category that they're looking for that product for, and your widget pops up, and it pops up on Target.com and Amazon, that person's probably going to go to Amazon as a consumer first. That's what people tend to do. They see it for 20. Oh, let me go check it on Target. And Target's $29.95. Where are you going to buy it from?
That's true.
There's some Target loyalists, and maybe they'll just say, I'll pay the extra money because it's Target and there's a physical store and I can go return it. And there's value in that. That's worth a few dollars sometimes. Sure. But generally speaking, people are price shopping for all things being equal. Do the buyers sometimes come back to you and say, hey, listen, I love this product, but you're selling it on Amazon and there's no way that we're going to take it on if you're selling it for $20. We want to sell for 35. You take it off there. Do they ever say, like, take it off there, we'll buy 500,000 of them? I guess most of that is sort of backhanded, gray area talk. They won't necessarily say that, but what they will say is, look, we can't compete with that. Or, hey, look, if you want us, you're right. If we would like to do business with you, but we have an Amazon problem.
Yeah.
So they may not necessarily come right out and say that, but you have to make a choice. Now, for me, if I'm not doing much on Amazon and I'm not willing to invest much in ads or at all in ads, and Target wants to buy it, I'd probably shut my Amazon stuff off.
Oh yeah, no doubt
Because
about
Target is a nationally known brand. They're going to market, just because they're marketing their own Target brand. Target doesn't carry the amount of products that Amazon carries. So if someone types in widget, they may only carry 2 or 3 widgets like yours, but on Amazon, they may carry 200 widgets like yours. And yours may never get seen. So I might put my resources behind Target, because Target's not going to ask me to buy ads. Now, they have ways you can spend a little money with Target on their website to do email blasts or show up on their, deals, but that's not nearly as costly as running regular ads on Amazon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a conflict. It's always an issue potentially. So I like to get people when they're just starting out selling products, so we can have a strategy to say, all right, if you want to sell on Amazon, how are we going to handle it? A lot of times I just say, let's not worry about Amazon. Let's just get on retail. Let's get into retail but some people really want to be on Amazon. And again, it can really pay off for them, but they have to be willing to. Sometimes I tell people, listen, why don't we just make 2 separate items? Let's make an Amazon only exclusive type of thing. And maybe it's a little smaller, it's got 1 or 2 more or less features. And it's sort of a little bit of a different product than what you have. And we'll sell the other product in retail. I mean, there's ways to do things, but you have to have a plan. You can't just put everything out there and just see how it goes, or you're gonna alienate or upset one or the other, and then you're probably gonna lose on both ends that way.
Yeah, and as a person who sells on both multiple times, if possible, go to retail. Call Jim, connect with them. Go to retail if you can, because Amazon is a job. Retail is too, but I'd rather sell a whole bunch to a retailer than constantly selling to Amazon, updating my site, buying ads, doing all those things. So
and Amazon, you got to remember, even though Amazon has these little pop-up stores, there's one here by us in Atlanta at Perimeter Mall. It's an Amazon store. You go in, they have all their top selling products, but Target's got stores everywhere. So the advantage of selling to a chain store that's big is the visibility. You get the foot traffic, in addition to how much they do on their websites. They're not as big as Amazon in terms of their web presence, but they're pretty huge. But you get that double dip. You get, say Target.com's website, millions of visitors and shoppers, and you get their physical store presence. So you could sell. So Amazon, I think the only way you can sell in those little stores is if your product is really like a top selling product. And there may be more to it. I actually don't really know. I'm trying to learn more about it, but I have went to that Amazon store here a few times, and it looks like it's the most popular things, or things that would be very popular. And, like you see like Roomba, or you see, it could be like Apple products, or there could be, like kitchen products, like, big branded stuff or whatever. It's typically stuff and they have it. It's like 5-star rating or 4-star rating products. And I think that's the premise, is that it's things that are highly rated, a lot of reviews, good sales, whatever, or maybe they're just picking things to round out the assortment in the store. And it's not a big store. Have you been in one?
Yeah, actually I have. And yeah, it's all kinds of bestseller stuff. You're right on.
Yeah. So it's tricky. So the Amazon thing, it could really be, a huge boom to your business if you handle it right. And it's okay to just say, I'm going to focus on Amazon only, but you have to be willing to really invest in it and really spend money and time and work with people that understand the ever-changing algorithms and procedures. And it's its own entity. It's the only retailer that I will not attempt to deal with on my own.
And that's saying something. Jim, you do this.
And I know retail, but it's its own separate
Yeah.
entity. It's a marketplace. And you know, Walmart's got a marketplace and Best Buy has a marketplace. There's a lot of retailers that are selling all kinds of things that aren't what they normally sell just to get in on this marketplace situation that's very prevalent today. And Amazon's a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's just, the Amazon's not a retailer. People need to understand that. It's a place where people can sell their stuff. It's no different than selling it on your own website in a way. They're just much bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. It is. It is. And again, as a person that sells on Amazon, I'm not really a big fan. It's one of those things that if you want to sell some product, but if there was an option, other than going to retail or selling it myself, maintaining it on my website and doing, I try to do as little on that side as possible. I like a machine that runs itself. And that's why if Amazon cared about the little guys, it would be such a great platform for small sellers like me and our inventors, our listeners.
Yeah, it's true. But
yeah,
they're a business. They're going to promote and push and expose products on their site that are selling. And how do you get there? You usually have to pay to get there. If you're a big brand, things sort of sell themselves to a degree, but you've got to, if you're not willing to invest in it, you're probably not going to do a lot there. You could do a little bit and you might do okay for the average inventor. I mean, if they sell 100 pieces a month, maybe that's really good and they're happy with that. But even then, you're probably going to spend a little bit. I mean, there are people that say, "Oh, I don't really spend money on ads," but that's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, I agree. Cool, man. It's another one, that we get all the time. I don't even know if we can touch the whole legal side, the patents and all that kind of stuff yet. That's going to be a whole nother show because all the questions that you get.
I mean, they're cracking down. They're cracking down on how, when you want to set up a storefront or have a presence on there. It used to, you could just literally, it used to be, you could just put something up there like that. Mm-hmm. Now they want proof of address, bank statements, utility bills. There's a lot that you have to go through, and they're not quick to approve you. It could be weeks, and then they ask you for more information, and because there's so many counterfeit products and fake corporations and things that have cropped up because it really probably wasn't very well policed in the early days, and now that all caught up with them, and now they're trying to lock it down. And I'm sure like the big brands were probably a big driver of that, right? Like, hey, we're a huge corporation, we got a big brand, and now we're seeing all these knockoffs and people saying that they're us and they're not us. And right, we have a patent on that and someone's selling it. And Amazon can't, like, probably typically really, they can't go after people and police everything. There's millions of things on there. All they could do is set up new procedures to, sort of check people and make sure that they're cleared and they're proper and they're providing information that they can be verified. That's all they could do going forward. And then over probably the next couple of years, there'll be less counterfeiting and less knockoff stuff and just fake things going on. And that will help the little guy ultimately. But right now, yeah, it's really a land of bigger brands and who can spend the most.
Yeah, no doubt. 1,000,000%. So yeah, I mean, this has been great. I mean, we're already out of time. We're kind of over a little bit, but I think that answering these questions is very helpful. Even for me, I get to vent a little bit. I know you do. And the inventor, we're right with you. As you can see, Jim and I struggle with sometimes with the decisions that you have to make, but you have to make a decision. You have to move forward. And sometimes, Jim, right? It could be multiple things. I'm going to sell on Amazon. I'm going to hire Jim to go to retail, and maybe I'm selling off my website too, or I'm selling on eBay. I'm going after, different types of selling like Etsy. There might be a multiple prong attack, right?
And it's good too. You don't want all your eggs in one basket, but you have to have a strategy before you just go out and just start trying to sell everybody and then work back. It's like Amazon. Had they kept more controls in the beginning, they wouldn't be backtracking and trying to fix it all later. And that's a problem. So as an inventor, when you go out there, you need to say, where do I want to be? And then I can say, well, look, this is where I think you should be. Here's how you should price it. Here's how you should go about it. And if you want to just sell on Amazon, that's fine. But then you're going to have to put all your resources towards Amazon and really dig in. But I like going and selling different retailers and a bunch of different retailers. And it's okay to sell from your own website. As long as the pricing isn't all over the place and you're consistent, then the consumer makes the choice as to where they want to shop. Because again, if you go into any chain store, they sell big brands in all the big chain stores. Generally, the pricing is within 5 or 10% of each other, but each retailer offers reward programs or discounts or coupons, and that is their reasoning for charging a little more, because they're giving you something back. But if you're $20 in one place and $80 in another, that's a problem. So yeah, you need a multi-pronged attack strategy, lay it out, and then execute it.
Yeah, totally agree. 1,000,000%. It's and then now we're and that's just after, obviously, we make your product.
Yeah.
We sample it. We got inventory. We got things ordered. So those are all things that we kind of cover. Maybe we'll backtrack and cover some of those questions that come up.
Yeah, I've got a list. We'll have our part 2 next week on the most common questions. And just to give a little teaser to people, some of the questions we'll cover next time is licensing versus making it and going on your own. People say, which one should I do? So we'll cover that. And then, of course, this always comes up. Should I patent my product? Do I need to patent my product to sell it? So we'll cover those, and that's probably all we'll get to, because these topics can, as you can see, we only got to 2 questions in our time. So yeah, next time we'll hit on those. But again, yeah, Carmine, I think everybody is getting the sense that it's just not as simple as make it, put it out there, and people are going to buy it. It's just not like that at all.
And for some reason, I don't know if it's just emotion, even myself, we get caught up in that. We think, I just got to make this. I just got to get it out there. I got to show some people, and it's going to be gangbusters. And, sometimes it happens, but people also win lotto. So you have to figure it may not happen. So you have to prepare for that and do the work. There's nothing wrong with doing the work, because you have more of a solid foundation. Some of the one-hit wonders that hit gangbusters and stuff, even some ones that we know of, Jim, that we've gotten on the Today Show or they've hit it big, they weren't ready to manufacture, the websites crashed, and all of a sudden they were gone. So it's that whole preparation. It's that whole getting ready.
Lots to do.
Yeah, no doubt. So if you guys out there, any listeners out there, have some questions, send them into us. You can find Jim on social media, obviously, jimdebetta.com. Send them into myself. I'm on social media. We would love to not only answer your questions and help, but we might read, go over your question online, and we'll mention that you had sent it in. It would be pretty cool to hear from some of our listeners if we haven't answered your question, or you have something that needs to be answered. If it needs to be and it's detrimental, don't wait, obviously. Get out there and contact us, and we'll help you much earlier than when the show comes up. So for myself, Carmen Disco, for Mr. Jim DeBetta, get retail ready. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time on the Launch Network. You all take care.